Hello and welcome to No Safer Place. Today is going to be the first review of the Zoella Book Club Challenge, and the first book I'm going to review is All the Bright Places by Jennifer Niven. Now this is a brilliant book and it's affected me, it really has. It's the first book in a long time that has genuinely upset me and made me think about life in general, to be honest. The book's based on Theodore Finch and Violet Markey, and they're 17 years old and they're living in Indiana. The story's set from both of their points of view, so it's nice to get both of their viewpoints. They meet for the first time at a bell tower and they're both contemplating suicide, and it's not a great first meeting, but I think this is the first place where they kind of save each other, and it's lovely to see. Violet lost her sister in a car accident, and that's why she's at this stage in her life where she doesn't feel like she can cope and she doesn't see the point without her sister. And Finch, he grew up in an abusive household and he has a lot of problems. He has bipolar and depression, and he really closes himself off from the world and never shows anyone his true self. So they meet in the bell tower, and then they have a few instances where they meet each other at school, and then he asks her to be his partner for a geography trip, which is going around Indiana and seeing sights and doing a report on it pretty much. Anyway, cut a long story short, they fall in love, which was a bit predictable. I did predict that they were going to fall in love and it would be all happy, and that they would kind of save each other and it would all be lovey-dovey. But it doesn't really end like that. I mean, Finch really loves Violet, like, so passionately, and it's so lovely to read. Like, the detail that Jennifer Niven puts in is just amazing, and it's so romantic, the things he says to her. And I will be reading some of my favourite quotes in a minute, because there are some that I just have to share with you. So he makes her fall in love with herself again, but when you're reading it, you're seeing him shrink back into himself, and what cost is it going to come to him? It's just, it's really sad. And you're reading it and you're thinking, oh, will their love be enough to save each other? And it really is a heartbreaking story. I'd say the main theme of the story is centred around mental health, bipolar and depression, and Finch goes to counselling and goes to support groups, and he really tries to make himself better for Violet. And it's making me want to well up just thinking about it, because it's such a lovely story. And in the story, it's like full of educational facts, because Finch is really clever. I mean, he's really intellectual, and he knows so many things about everything. And that was one of my favourite part of the books, actually, is that there's so much more that I've learnt now just from reading that book, and I didn't expect that at all. I've not read a book where the male character has been more relatable than the female character, but it was for this book. I think because I've experienced a lot of trouble with mental health, so this really got to me, and I really understood what he was feeling, and it's just lovely. The book's very John Green-esque, but I found it better than his books. I've never read one of his books and felt like that after. But yeah, it's a great book and I definitely recommend it. 5 out of 5 from me. Now, I've got a few marks in here and I'm going to read some of my favourite quotes, so here we go. The first one is on page 155, and it's what Finch says. The problem with people is they forget that most of the time it's the small things that count. Everyone's so busy waiting in the waiting place. If we stopped to remember that there's such a thing as a Purina tower and a view like this, we'd all be happier. I love the quote. He's just so romantic. I love him so much. And then I was going to do 3, but I'll just do one more because this video is getting pretty long. The last one is, it's hard to describe, but I imagine the way I am at this moment is a lot like getting sucked into a vortex. Everything dark and churning, but slow churning instead of fast, and this great weight pulling you down like it's attached to your feet, even if you can't see it. I think this is what it must feel like to be trapped in quicksand. That's the end of this review, and I hope you read this book because it's seriously worth a read. I hope you liked the first review, and I'll see you all soon. Thank you!